Thank you, Mr President. I seek leave to move the motion standing in my name in an amended form, namely that this Council, 1, recognises that free cat desexing programs will improve population control and welfare outcomes for cats and shelter and rescue staff and volunteers, and 2, calls on the South Australian Government to expand free desexing programs for cats to reduce shelter intake, overpopulation and strain on shelter and rescue workers and volunteers.
Is leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr President. I move the motion in my name.
Would we like to second that? Yes, I thought I could see that. Thank you. Ms Franks.
It was revealed in 2019 in a joint report published by the RSPCA and the Animal Welfare League that the current management systems and the implementation of the Dog and Cat Management Act in our state are simply ineffective. South Australia has the second highest number of cat ownership in the nation, with 37% of South Australian households owning approximately 397,000 cats. That is no small number. However, our Dog and Cat Management Act currently fails to address the issue of the 171,000 unowned or semi-owned cats in our state. Since 2018, this has led to a 20% increase in shelter intake at the RSPCA, and that number is increasing. The resources of rescue charities, both large and small, are struggling to cope, resulting in poor welfare outcomes for both the cats and, of course, the people who seek to care for them. While there is no statewide figure published, it is estimated that at least 43% of the annual intake is euthanised between the Animal Welfare League and the RSPCA, and I note that the RSPCA does publish their figures. With the yearly intake at approximately 11,000, that's almost 5,000 cats per year. Many more cats are currently euthanised, and they could be rehomed if the system was not as overloaded. For example, RSPCA Queensland reduced their euthanasia rate by 1/3 for cats previously classified as feral, just by lengthening the time that they spent in care. Shelter staff can suffer mental health problems as a result of being tasked with killing healthy, redeemable animals. Several studies have shown that these workers suffer higher rates of post-traumatic stress, depression and substance abuse. This has resulted in low job satisfaction and high turnover. The current cat management strategies here in our state have largely relied on animal welfare organisations and veterinarians to deal with unwanted cats. Councils have few responsibilities under current legislation, and most do the minimum in managing cat issues within their council areas. This lack of local council involvement does vary greatly, and it also differs from other states and territories in our nation, where council responsibilities for cat management in some places are similar to those of dogs. So what does work? Well, Mr President, carefully targeted and free desexing programs. While subsidised, low-cost programs help, they do not achieve the desexing volumes necessary to achieve the substantial reduction in population needed. The 2022 announcement of the Dog and Cat Management Board that they were to have a $100,000 fund for subsidised desexing is a step in the right direction, but it's absolutely not enough. It depends on councils being motivated to become involved, and we cannot rely only on that motivation. And the board even said it themselves. Not all councils have taken up the offer. That is because this funding requires them to make a co-payment, and indeed the councils in the most severe financial distress simply cannot afford this. The funding also needs to be targeted to the areas of highest need. It's clearly an unsustainable situation for organisations such as the RSPCA and the AWL and the many rescues who rely predominantly on community goodwill and community donations. One of the main contributing factors in the continued growth of the unwanted cat population and subsequent intake into rescues and shelters is likely to be the failure to desex cats in low-income households and semi-owned and unowned cats. Targeted, low-cost desexing programs have been shown to be effective in increasing desexing rates, and they also receive strong community support. Ongoing low-cost desexing programs have helped achieve what is called zero euthanasia of all healthable and treatable stray and surrender cats and dogs in places like the Gold Coast, the second largest council in our country. Our community have made it clear that they want to see parliaments take action in regarding wandering cats, and the first step to solving that problem is, of course, desexing. Desexing not only helps to ensure fewer unwanted animals, but it also helps to reduce their desire to roam in search of a mate or get into fights. Desexed animals can also live longer and healthier lives. It's time for our government to work with councils and provide leadership, but also to invest in our shelters and rescues and fund free desexing programs for cats right across the state. Now, what would that look like, Mr President, is a question that other members of this council have already asked me even before I moved this motion. And I do draw their attention to a document called the Dog and Cat Management Act Review submission called Funding Free Desexing Programs that's dated December 2022. That submission has been made on behalf of a number of rescues in this state. That is the Adelaide Kitten Rescue, Cats in Crisis, Cat Adoption Foundation, Ginger Ninja, Help Save the Kitties, Hisses to Purrs, Making a Difference Cat Rescue and Adoption, Paws and Claws Adoptions Incorporated, Perfect Paws Rescue, Rescue Me, Whiskers and Paws, SA Cat Rescue, South Aussies for Animals, Tiny Tails Rescue Adelaide, Whiskers and Tails Adoption, Wild Cat Cottage, and I apologise if I have forgotten them, but I think that is all of the organisations who've been involved in not only making a submission to the Dog and Cat Management Review on this issue, but have worked together over a period of some 5 or 6 months to see a petition tabled in the other place, handwritten, of over 11,000 signatures so far. It is an issue that therefore will warrant a debate in this parliament, and it is one of the reasons I moved this motion today. As we know, previous legislation has seen a petition of more than 10,000 signatures hand-signed of South Australians verified trigger a debate. Often it will go to the Legislative Review Committee, and I know that indeed issues of Dog and Cat Management Act do already take up a significant period of time in that particular committee. I note that we do need a statewide coordinated response to both dog and cat management in this state, and this is just one area that hopefully out of the Dog and Cat Management Act review we will see some positive reforms sometime soon. I refer members' attention to that petition, which shows the substantial level of community interest in our leadership on this matter. But I also particularly thank Virginie de Croo, who has been tireless not only in supporting unowned cats in our community, but also in pulling together this particular document, the petition of over 11,000 signatures so far. Thank you, Virginie, for your leadership. I hope we don't let you down. There has been a significant shift in the burden that we're currently seeing in our shelters and rescues in this state, and we are not unique in that. It is a trend happening right across the country right now. Interstate, shelters and rescues are at crisis point, as they are here. Interstate, some of them have had to close their doors. We have seen for the first time in my memory the RSPCA have to turn away animals in the past year. That is because, one, after the COVID crisis, where many people took on animals, there are situations that have now led to them not being able to continue that. We've also seen a cost of living crisis that we'd all be very well familiar with, see people unable to sustain what would otherwise be much loved pets. The people who care for these animals, who provide that important role in providing rescue and care, also deserve our support. They are under enormous pressures right now, financially, emotionally, and indeed literally physically. They need our help, and desexing is something that this parliament can show leadership in ensuring. In terms of looking at the best way to do it, Mr President, I seek leave to table the submission made on behalf of all of those rescues aforementioned to the Dog and Cat Management Act review, and this provides costed examples that have worked in other jurisdictions of ways that South Australia can do better when it comes to supporting not just the shelters and rescues and the animals within them, but the people who devote their volunteer time most often to ensuring appropriate care, as well as those veterinarians who, of course, get into this profession because they love animals and they don't necessarily needlessly wish to put them down. Mr. President?
Leave is granted.
Mr. President, with that, I commend the motion.